My girlfriend is unemployed for 4 years and drains me financially. Today, I've had enough and kicked her out of my life. I started at LDR with a girl I met through a friend, which lasted about a year and culminated her moving across state lines to be with me in the city. Everything was great, and we were truly in love with each other. Because she moved across state lines, and because she expressed the desire to leave her toxic field of choice and try her hand at something more banal, I agreed to take on the burden of supporting her for a while until she had a job. She would take on most of the cleaning and groceries, etc. while I was at work. I even agreed to sleep on a mattress in the kitchen because she had chronic insomnia problems and required very specific constraints under which she got sleep. I could not tolerate these while working. I feel like I've done everything I could for her, including taking care of her expensive medical needs, which destroyed my savings. After around 5 to 2 years, I started to develop an anxiety disorder under the stress of supporting her. What had at first been something I was willing to do out of kindness and love quickly became a consent issue and has turned into a burden. Fast forward to now, 4 years after she came to the city and still no job. I am a nervous wreck and I feel completely emotionally run down by the burden of supporting her. I've destroyed my body by putting on weight due to the stress as well. I used to be pretty happy and carefree, but now I'm just depressed and anxious all the time. We have a non-existent sex life because my sex drive has tanked completely. I don't know what to do because I still love her and we have a loving romantic relationship otherwise. She's never really done anything wrong, if that makes sense. She's been loving, helpful, and genuinely seems affected by not succeeding in finding a job and helping shoulder the burden. I never really cared for my mental health much before, but it's really starting to affect me. I've become emotionally unstable, and sometimes the stress and resentment come through in my interactions with her. The hardest part about this is that I can tell she's trying and just failing. I've tried to help, and I've been rebuffed several times and only able to help a bit, but otherwise, she hasn't done anything wrong. But I am resentful because I feel like I've sacrificed everything from my body to my mental health to make this relationship happen, but it's just not happening. What do I do? To make it clear, this is a big, deal-breaking issue for me that I've told her is my primary source of stress and anxiety. I don't see much change, and I think she's too ashamed at this point to give me updates, which just compounds my stress because of the radio silence. Update: almost a year later. We had moved to a new state and a smaller town to live more cheaply and to help address my physical needs that couldn't be met in the city with everything and everyone locked down. Things were good for a few months. However, the job question came back again. I was working full-time and had taken on new responsibilities for keeping myself in shape, working hard to lose the weight. That's when I noticed she was just kind of existing. She wasn't excited about anything in the area and wasn't doing much to find jobs. I had a talk with her in October, and we agreed that perhaps my request that she find a salaried 9 to 6 job could be relaxed, and part-time would be sufficient to help out. After all, I only needed 2 things from her: space from time to time, and her to help out in any way she could with the finances. The first of 2 final straws occurred that winter. I was working to build a new business from scratch, and I had to leave my job in order to do it, which meant around 4 months of negative income. It was going to be tight, but she agreed to help support by finding an easy job. This support never came. She couldn't do it, or didn't want to. I began to notice it felt more like the latter. As a result, we barely made rent in February, thanks to my taking on contract work on the side, effectively working 2 jobs. We had a huge fight in February over this. I wasn't willing to be that close to being homeless just because she didn't want to work a job that was beneath her qualifications. I made it explicit that this was a deal breaker for me, and that I would not move an inch in the relationship until she started contributing in the way we discussed. She agreed. Another 5 months went by with no job. At this point, frustrated with her lack of success, she asks me to move with her to her hometown and move in with her parents while she looks for a job where she had a network. I flat out refused, and we went on break. I moved to a new state and hoped that maybe some space would allow me to think clearly about the relationship. By September this year, I realized I felt completely happy to be on my own and stress-free. We broke it off completely. To my knowledge, she still doesn't have a job as of this post. I feel used, emotional, physically, and financially abused, and hurt by how casually someone could run me into the ground like this. But I also feel hopeful about myself, and I'm seeing a therapist who's helping me unpack it all. Further, my business was worth it, and it's taken off and given me enough time and space to deal with all of this while maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Overall, the biggest downer is, I feel like I've just wasted 5 years of my life with someone who I'm fairly sure was a subtle abuser the whole time. It hurts to say it, but the way I always felt like the bad guy, or the way she would guilt trip me and keep me from my friends, bad news. I'll never let anyone do this to me again.